Let's get salty!
Hey everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and it's that time like we do every separate content drop. We take a look using HS Replay at what the worst cards are, because we all know what the best cards are. Clearly, it's like Sarun and stuff like that. But regardless, we're going to go through Diamond through Legend, sorting by deck win rate, what the worst performing cards are so far from the Great Dark Beyond 1. It makes me absolutely really sad, very sad. And as always, most of these cards, or a lot of these cards, end up getting buffed. So it could be a preview of things to come. Speaking of which, Play Hearthstone did tweet out that we will be getting a balance patch next week with a preview on Wednesday, a full patch on Thursday. We'll have our predictions on Monday. So stay tuned for that. And as always, if you enjoy the content on the channel, feel like I've earned your subscription, please hit that sub button down below. Give the video a like. It helps out a lot as we're on the road to 90,000 subscribers. Plus, you can stay tuned on all of that news. Anyways, let's take a look at what the 10 worst performing cards are so far. Starting off at number 10, we have the neutral minion, the Escape Pod. Not quite the animated broomstick it wanted to be. It is a 3-mana 2/1 rush minion that has Death Rattle, give adjacent minions +1/+1, and rush. It is in 0.04% of decks, has a deck win rate of 36.8%, and has been played all of 940 times. Just too expensive for the effect, giving a couple of minions rush. Just in today's game, it does give a bit of a buff, but not amazing. I will say to Rita, I've had some pretty interesting lethals with this card, but this is more of an assimilating blight card. You'll see it a lot more from that card than anything else. And yeah, just Rush has lost a lot of its value with the way the board matters less and less because of Rush in a way almost. It's weird how that works out, but yes, so far the Escape Pod not escaping the accusations that it's not so good. Oh my god. At number 9, we have the Warlock card, the Abduction Raid. It's a 2-mana shadow spell. Get a random demon. You reduced its cost by 2. It is repeatable this turn. It is in 0.3% of decks. Has a deck win rate of 36.5%. Has been played 6,100 times. So you paid 2 mana to get an absolutely random demon that you'll save that 2 mana. It gets out kind of, but you're just getting crap, right? And I guess the idea is to combo with the Shadow Legendary that's also not all that great. That just, there's no way to mana cheat this really. And I guess you can bring back some demons with Archimon, but that whole archetype has not worked out. It's not consistent enough. The mana cheat you get is not really worth it at all. And as a result, it is number 9 on the list. And number 8 is the card I am the most sad about, because I really wanted this archetype to take off, and that is the Rogue Legendary Starship piece, the Gravitational Displacer. It is a 5-mana 4/3, and that might have a part to do with why it's on here. It is a Starship piece, and when this is launched, you summon a copy of the Starship, which is a very powerful effect. It is in 0.5% of decks, has a deck win rate of 35.9%, and has been played 8,000 times. The whole Starship package for Rogue has not worked out. As you will see, we go along this list, there's more of it. And yeah, the Gravitational Displacer actually the best performing card out of the whole mix, mainly because, yeah, doubling up on a Starship is super sweet. The problem is it's 5 mana, and it does absolutely nothing when you play it in a meta of full crazy mana cheat and scams and OTKs. We need some major nerfs, but even with those, this is a card I easily could see like going to 4 mana, getting a stat boost, something like that, because yeah, it's a big part of this expansion and not really doing well. And I think a lot of people, including myself, are excited for it. So maybe it is one of those cards on the list that could get buffed. At number 7, we have the Demon Hunter spell Infiltrate. It is a 3-mana spell which chooses a minion, deal 3 damage to all other minions. It's in 0.2% of decks, has a deck win rate of 35.6%, and has been played 4,400 times. And when I reviewed this card, I said this card would be really good in almost any class that's not Demon Hunter, because Demon Hunter doesn't fight for control, board clears for the most part, they're aggressive, they're tempo, or they just try and kill ya. And yeah, this doesn't fit into any of that. I feel like any other classes access to this card, it's not on the list, but as a result, Demon Hunter doesn't care to remove the board or infiltrate the board or whatever. They just try to smork the board, kill not the board, the hero, and as a result, yeah, not doing so well. And yeah, speaking of not doing well, we have more Rogue Starship stuff with at number 6, the Scrounging Shipwright, a 2-mana 3/2 Draenei, the first Draenei to make this list. Might have a video on Draenei later because that tribe ain't really working. Death Rattle, get a random starship piece from another class. It is in 0.6% of decks, has a deck win rate of 35.4%, been played 23,000 times. There's a lot of people that want Starship Rogue to work, but unfortunately it's a 2-mana 3/2, no immediate effect. The Death Rattle, you can't obviously factor in what you're gonna get, but overall, it feels like to me this card is paying the Shadow Step tax, where they don't want it to be Battle Cry, because you could just Shadow Step, bounce it, Shadow Step, and then build a very specific starship, and then it's probably really, really good. So it's paying for the tax of that card being in standard, and it's kind of a bummer. Maybe they could buff it to discount the starship piece or something like that, but as long as a card like Shadow Step is around in standard, it's going to be a Death Rattle, even when it has no Death Rattle support. And as for that, yeah, it's number 6, and that's kind of a bummer. At number 5, though, we have the other Starship part for Rogue, the Starship Schematic. 1-mana spell, discover a Starship piece from another class. This is in 0.6% of decks, has a 35.3% deck win rate, and has been played 26,000 times, the most played card on this list, because again, people want Starship Rogue to work. And again, this card I think is fine for the most part. It could give, like, you know, discount the Starship by 1, so it's basically free. But overall, there's not much more you can do with this card. I feel like the other pieces bringing it down, but certainly something you can look at buffing. It's got Sonia synergies and all of that, but overall, the whole mechanic, the whole archetype's not doing great. So one of the more reasonable cards, I think, in the whole package is being bogged down. Number 4, we have a card that nobody thought would be good. The Light Fused Mana Saber. Neutral beast, 6-mana 6/6. It has Rush, Spellburst, gain Divine Shield. It is in 0% of decks. 0. We're in sample size territory here. 34.9% deck win rate. And has been played 90 times. Some madman's put that in their deck, and that's crazy. I'll just put it this way. This is my review of the card as to why it's probably not that good. If you took the Spell Burst away from this card and gave this minion Divine Shield just straight out the gate, would you put this in your deck? No, you would not. And yes, it is just not a very good card. At number 3, we have the last Starship Rogue part. Literally every piece of Starship Rogue is on this list. We have Do a Barrel Roll, 3 mana, deal 5 damage to an undamaged character. It costs 1 if you're building a starship. It is in 0.3% of decks. It has a deck win rate of 33.2% and has been played 11,000 times. Again, pretty popular. Not as popular as all the other parts of it. But yeah, overall, it's fine. Like, it's removal, it's okay, but it's too honest for today's game. Playing a Shadow Strike, even if it could go to 1, too honest. This is the state of the game. And again, Starship Rogue not popping off, so one of the worst cards in the deck. That package is going to be the worst performing thing, and it's doing so badly that is literally number 3 on the list. Only 2 cards are worse, and well, again, they're expected, and they have very limited sample size, but we're going to go over it anyways. And yeah, at number 2, we have a card that is gorgeous, but what were they doing with this? The Starscale Conell, a 5-mana 4/7 dragon, Spellburst. Double this minion's attack. It is in 0% of decks, has a deck win rate of 30.7%, and has been played 81 times. I mean, I'm sure it's been played more than that, getting it discovered as a dragon. I'm sure that's happened quite a bit, or, you know, something else, some other effect, or evolving into it. But again, you're not playing a 5-mana 4/7 do nothing, then have to have it live, then play a spell just to double its attack to 8, unless you've hand buffed it or buffed it on the board. It's so underwhelming. This card just feels like it's from 2018, like a scaling nightmare style of card, right? And that wasn't good back then either. Yeah, it just doesn't really make the cut. And at number 1, the worst performing card is another neutral garbage card, the Deep Space Curator, a 3-mana 2/4 minion spell burst. Get a random minion of the spell's cost. You set its cost to 0. It is in 0.01% of decks, has a deck win rate of 30.5%, and has been played all of 200 times. I mean, you get a random minion, I guess, if you combo it with a spell. Not reliable, might just do nothing for you. It could be a Maleficent Rook. It hits you in the face, you never know. And overall, even in Arena, this one has felt underwhelming. And I think it's hilarious, to me at least, that the worst performing card, according to these metrics at least, is a card that gives you 0 mana cards. The bane of my existence. Maybe they're balanced after all. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about these cards. Any cards you're surprised that didn't make the list or that aren't represented very well, are better than they appear to be on this list, and what you'd like to see buffed and all of that. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.